Hi, I'm Senja Yakovlev, Student Data Systems Coordinator for Everett Public Schools. I want to welcome you to the step-by-step walkthrough of our online student enrollment system. We're very excited to present this as an option to you, and we want to take you through the process from start to finish. This video will begin with how families who already have students in Everett Public Schools log in through the Home Access Center using their LMS account and start new student enrollment from there. For new families who are enrolling a student for the first time, or families who are returning to us who do not have any students currently enrolled, they will create an account in our enrollment system directly. We will end by showing you how to start an enrollment for a second student and how to use the information that you entered for the first student to make additional enrollments a little bit easier. For both sets of families, we start on the Everett Public Schools website Parents tab in the header menu and continue to the Enrollment Information menu on the left. Once you're on the Enrollment Information screen, you can scroll down to find one of the enrollment buttons. Existing families use the Info button to log into Home Access Center. Your login for Home Access Center uses your LMS account, which is the same account that is used to access Gradebook and other Everett Public Schools resources. If you need assistance accessing your LMS account, please don't hesitate to contact the LMS team. Once inside the Home Access Center, click the Enroll New Student button on the upper right and select Start next to New Student Enrollment. It will authenticate your account, which can sometimes take a moment. And then from there, you will be able to enter a name and birth date and click the Add Student button. For new families, instead of clicking on the Info button, you will click on the Enroll Online button or the appropriate button in your language of choice. This will take you to the account creation or the login screen. The first time you come to the screen, you will click the Create Account button and then enter a few personal details that will allow you to create your enrollment account. Please note you want to be careful about your email address when you create your account, because you will need to be able to use this email address to confirm your account and also to be able to access your enrollment information in the future. There are also a few security questions for you to answer, just like there are in other online accounts that you may have created in the past. You will also want to certify that you are over the age of 13. After your account is created, you will start to add your first student. Everett Public Schools online enrollment may take around half an hour to fill out, but don't worry because you can always save it and return later if you are unable to finish it in one sitting. You can also save it and return later if there is documentation that you need to be able to upload and don't have access to it when you start filling out the form. We do recommend that you try to have documents ready and prepared before you begin. Before we begin asking for information about your student, the introduction page provides you with some basic instructions as well as the opportunity to change the form language from English to Spanish, Russian, or Vietnamese. To move forward in the form, at the bottom of each page there is a Next button. The first question we ask is if you are enrolling your student for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year. Then we move on to questions about your student and questions that will help us to locate the neighborhood school that they should attend. The online form is responsive, so when we choose the grade of kindergarten, then options specific to kindergarten students appear. Another example of a responsive form is that when we answer the question about living arrangements, if we answer that we are in a temporary living arrangement, we are asked follow-up questions. But if we change the answer to no, then those questions are unnecessary, so they are not asked. After entering your address and selecting it from the list, don't forget to enter your apartment number if you live in an apartment complex. You will need to click the Find Zoned Schools button. The map will then show both your home location as well as the location of any schools that may be appropriate based on your student's grade level and your address. You can then select your neighborhood school from the Enrolling School drop-down, as seen below. If you are interested in applying for free or reduced price meals, a link to the meal application is available in the enrollment application. Clicking on it will open the application in a new window where you can apply and then return to the enrollment form, or leave the application open and apply after completing your enrollment form. The next section is about any supports and services that your student may have received in the past, either before starting school or in a prior school. We use this information to help know which staff should review enrollment paperwork as we prepare for your students' first days of school. Schools in Washington ask about whether parents or guardians of students are affiliated with the military. This helps us support students in times of uncertainty and to provide flexibility in times of transition. For students entering kindergarten, knowing if your child participated in a formal pre-kindergarten program helps us understand their experience with the classroom environment. We also collect information about younger siblings so that we can invite them to age-appropriate learning opportunities and reach out to families when it's time to think about kindergarten enrollment for those children as well. The kindergarten questionnaire is a responsive area of the enrollment form that only appears when a student is being enrolled in kindergarten. It allows our kindergarten teachers to get a better sense of each student as a person, as well as their strengths and weaknesses. I'm going to speed through this section, but it's very important to us, and each teacher appreciates the opportunity it gives them to hear from you, the parents of their new students, about what makes your student special. After the kindergarten questionnaire, we return to the main enrollment process and the new student section of the form. In this section, we ask for you to identify your student's race and ethnicity. While you can opt out of providing this information, if you choose to do so, we will follow up with you after your form is submitted to further discuss your options. You can make multiple race and ethnicity selections on this screen using the checkboxes and drop-down selections, so please choose the options that you feel are appropriate for you and your student. You will need to make a selection for both Part A, ethnicity, and Part B, race. After race and ethnicity, we ask about place of birth. Most importantly, while we ask these questions, no information collected by the school will ever be used to identify students' or families' immigration status. Born outside of the United States also includes students born on military bases outside of the U.S. When we ask if your student has ever received formal education outside of the U.S., this is specifically about primary or secondary school education and does not include preschool. All students enrolling are asked home language questions, including the first language that they learned and the primary language spoken in their home. In the case of a truly bilingual household, please choose the non-English language in the selections. Students are not automatically placed in supported classes based on the answers to these questions, but are screened to see if those supports are needed. Family information is where we start to gather information about parents and guardians, and also where we gather information about students who are acting as their own guardian in the case of emancipated or unaccompanied youth. If there are any active court orders like parenting plans, it's important to let the school know, and you will be provided with the opportunity to upload the documents at the end of the enrollment process. Having these documents allow the schools to help support families appropriately. The primary parent guardian should always be the parent guardian who lives at the same address as the one used for the student's physical address. The only exception to this rule is for foster children, where their caseworker should be entered as the primary parent guardian. You can enter up to 3 phone numbers for each parent guardian and whether each phone number receives automated electronic messages. Again, use care when entering your email address here because communication about your enrollment will happen to the email address entered on this record. Up to 4 additional parents and guardians can be entered for each student. The automated messaging option is available for additional parents and guardians as well. Each student is required to have at least one emergency contact who is not one of their parents or guardians. These contacts are authorized to pick up your child in emergency situations only. Any other situation requires the express consent of a parent or guardian. You can select the order in which contacts should be prioritized, although the office generally prefers that contacts are prioritized with guardians occurring before emergency contacts. The health information is one section of the enrollment form that can be either very long or very short, depending on the situation of your student and your answers to health questions. As we walk through the form, you can see that by answering yes to the allergy question, more questions appear and request more information. This helps our health services team be prepared for your student and their needs before they start school. Pay careful attention to the additional health concerns and requirements section. You can always answer yes to this question to preview the list of possible concerns, and then change your answer to no if none of them apply to your situation. If you indicate that your student will require medications at school, then you will be given the opportunity to provide details about those medications. You will also be given the opportunity to upload a medication authorization form. Finally, we ask you to indicate that you understand that if your child has a medical emergency while at school or while under school supervision, that Everett Public Schools will call emergency medical services. The transportation screen provides a summary of transportation information and a link to transportation policies and procedures. You are also asked to acknowledge that you are aware of and understand the policies and procedures. Next is a link to the School and Route Finder application. The School and Route Finder will open in a separate window, which you can use to locate the nearest bus stop for the current school year. Bus routes for following school years are often not set until shortly before school begins. The third part of this page is devoted to how you plan for your child to travel to and from school each day. If busing is available and you plan for your child to take the bus, then you would choose school bus, or if you plan to drop your child off each day, then you would choose parent. Lastly, if your schedule varies from day to day, then you have the option to choose different methods by day of the week. The Agreements page is devoted to providing you with links to important information about being a student or parent in Everett Public Schools. It has a link to the Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. Clicking on the link will open up a new window on the Everett Public Schools website, which has links to the handbook in multiple languages. You can spend time reading it now, and you can also save it to reference later. Pay special attention to the conditions for use of technology because you are asked to acknowledge that you have received and agree to them. The next acknowledgement is that you are aware of and understand the attendance policies and procedure. These are also part of the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook, but the link on the page will take you to part of the Everett Public Schools website that is specific to attendance. In the handbook, we can see that they are on page 12. You can read through them there. And acknowledge them on the page, or you can follow the link to go to the website to see the specific links and information on the website itself. Third is the description of directory information and your consent to release your student's name and photo in various methods. There is a separate question about whether you would like your child to be included in the yearbook, even if you don't want them included in other types of sharing. For high school students, we also ask about sharing with colleges and military recruiters. Finally, we ask for your permission for your child to use the internet at school. Many tools now require internet access, so answering no to this question may put your student at disadvantage. As we near the end of the enrollment process, you have an opportunity to upload documents. This can be done from your computer or from a mobile device or tablet equipped with a camera. On a computer, just click the Upload button for each document you wish to upload and select the file in the dialog box by double-clicking. If you're not able to upload documents, then you can bring them into a school office when they are open to complete your enrollment, or you can email documentation to the school registrar or office manager when they reach out to you to follow up. Optional documents are nice to have and may help place your student in classes or make their transition smoother. If you can provide them as part of your enrollment, that is almost always helpful, but they are not required. Finally, you certify and electronically sign the enrollment form by selecting yes, that you agree that you are the legal parent or guardian and that the information is complete and accurate by typing your name in the electronic signature box and selecting the current date in the date box and clicking next. On the summary screen, if there are any incomplete fields or errors in your submission, they will be highlighted and you will be given an opportunity to go back and correct them by clicking on Find Invalid Fields, which will take you right back to the place where you need to make a change. Once you make the change, you can click Next to save your change, or click on Summary on the left to return to the summary page and submit. The submission process can take quite some time. I've sped it up for this video. Be patient, go grab a coffee. The hard work is done. At this point, you are finished. You can always log back in if you want to see your submitted forms. Use the links on this screen to access additional resources, or you can use the information you have already entered to make entering an additional student a little easier and faster. To add another student, click the registration link, then enter their name and birth date, and click the Add Student button. From here, choose Import if you want to use the information you have already entered. You can see that the address information is already here. I just have to click the Find Zoned Schools button because it didn't know what grade this student was going to be in. Skipping ahead to family information, we can see that the parent-guardian information is already entered as well. Thank you for spending almost 20 minutes with me walking through the new student enrollment process. I hope that it was helpful to you. Welcome to Everett Public Schools.